right, let's get it started. Fortunately, the first topic is not really a topic anyway, but let's go. Hello and welcome to Spitfire. We are in Season 2. This is Episode 6.
Correct.
Thank goodness, I always forget that every single week. However, we are back, and once again, interesting week this week because there is nothing hard and fast to talk about. So we're just going to cover a variety of topics and dive in and out and see where it takes us. But my name is Brice. I'll be bringing you the action and trying to rein in our guests. And joining me this week, of course, Tunn, who hopefully has his audio fixed and is going to do production dead good when Rated gets here. And you will see the cameras mess up in a little bit. But more importantly, our guests for this week. First of all, MarkyB, by the way, from Spliced, the coach, and let's put it, Call of Duty legend himself. Marky, how are you?
I'm great. It's been a while since I've been on here, to be fair. I think that I was one of the OG guests. I've just been out in the US for the last couple of months.
Busy
most
boy,
of
that's why.
Most of the time, or busy, doing things. So I've not had the opportunity to come on your show, but today I knew I was free. Chrissy Dunn hit me in the DMs, and it was always going to be over. As soon as those DMs hit my inbox, it was over.
Are you back in the UK at the moment, Mark?
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
Why have we not been running it up on Blackout? Get Swanee back. We'll run up the old squad.
We've just been playing rank play, playing FIFA, stuff like that. So,
well,
see,
get Cam Swan on the phone and we'll run it up. Get Firing Range has been missing us, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of the new Blackout update, to be honest. So I don't know.
But, yeah, the fog is not the wave.
We'll see.
All right, our other guest isn't here quite yet because apparently he's having a very long control game. Oh, wait a minute, there we go.
As soon as I start,
special guesses, you know.
I mean, that is an impressive way to join as soon as I kind of jump you in. But
guesses, yeah.
It's Rated. How are you, Rated? Yep. You are our other guests. Thank you for joining us.
The main man of the show. Wait, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, you can hear me.
We can.
Yeah, fuck it.
Yes, we can.
Disaster.
Can you hear us?
Yeah. Is it good? Yeah.
Awesome, fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Well, our first topic isn't really too much of a topic here, but more of an update. We were speaking last week about the Optic saga that went on for a long time. We covered a lot of it. We were waiting for a kind of a press release or a statement from Hex, who said it was going to be on the 4th. It's now the 10th, and there has been no statement from him. So I don't know what's going on with Optic, and I don't think anyone else does either, any more than we discussed last week. So that's just kind of an update. Tony, you've not heard anything?
No, Hex hasn't built my line, man. No, he hasn't told me.
Just thought I'd find out, you know.
No, on the contrary, though.
Ain't heard shit coming. Has he?
Yeah.
What's going on there, Marky?
He said to me, "Yo, Mark, come through. Me and you will be the biggest organisation in esports," and I decided to decline.
What would the name of your organisation be?
The Big Dogs. And you need to howl whenever you're on an interview.
Yeah, I can see people signing up for that right away.
Yes,
I mean, that kind of ties into our topic later on about character in Call of Duty and, people going at each other and how personal the fans take it sometimes. But before we get to that, we've got to talk about the ending of the Pro League. The ending in two ways. One is, of course, the end of the natural season. And the second, lots of tweets coming out talking about the last time being in Columbus. Looks like we're no longer going back to that historic venue.
Historic venue.
Well, I think it's a historic venue. You got to remember the amount of matches that are played.
No, I'm only joking. It is an historic venue. It's just funny when you say that. It's like calling Blackpool an historic venue, even though it is.
He called the the no brick the crucible of European Call of Duty once.
It is.
And that
Norbrick is the crucible of European Call of Duty. I won't have it. That and Pond's Forge. Don't even need anywhere else. But Rated, I can't remember when your last game was. Did you have any nostalgia for playing your last kind of Pro League games and playing the last time in Columbus?
Yeah, because we beat Mantra, yeah. It was really good.
Oh, yeah, damn, that was your last game, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
That must have felt pretty good, although I know there's probably not as much of a rivalry there as there was when it first happened.
Everyone knew I was going to win the series. Come on, let's be serious.
It's one of those guaranteed W's, isn't it?
Yeah, literally, you could have put your house on that series.
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
I don't really care. The place didn't do much for me.
Not
the playoffs last year that was about.
He's a tournament player.
Not the Columbus player, as it has been dubbed then.
Yeah,
I mean, I didn't do bad at Columbus. I just didn't win at Columbus. So I mean, I haven't won anyway. So I guess Noah's doing anything for me. But it was alright. I mean, it was just Columbus is yeah.
Yeah,
Alright.
fair
This
enough.
is good times.
I just don't like that there's just no crowd, is there? So it's just
Yeah.
the vibe just a lot different. I think if it had a crowd here, I think it wouldn't be too bad.
Like the players always try and get themselves hyped up for the matches, but there's no like fucking energy there. When you're
Yeah, there's no yeah.
when you're standing there about to go on stage and it's this fucking venue's complete silence, it's just like this is great times.
You need the passion pit feeling. Like, I've always wondered whether or not, you know, in those sort of games, if it is going to be on a stage like that with nobody kind of watching, whether or not, you know, the old school face to face, you know, two banks of monitors against each other would be better, allowing for kind of a more charged feeling. I always felt like when you're playing directly across from somebody, it gets a little bit more emotionally charged rather than the other side of a stage.
I guess so, but at the same time,
There's still no atmosphere though.
Yeah. I still think like everyone's calmed down a little bit more to get like that emotionally hyped up about being face to face with the other team and shit like that. I don't think it's
Especially
like,
on this game, you can't do it.
yeah, I don't really think there's that much hype for that anymore anyway. And I think obviously the venue and etc. is the massive factor.
Yeah, so well, it turns out we don't have to go to that venue anymore, which obviously leads into next year and the franchising and stuff. But in general, how do we think the Pro League went? We had some interesting drama Pro League wise this year. Obviously, Midnight probably being the biggest one, and then maybe actually rated. Well,
fucking hell! Am I fucking not in this fucking call? If you fucking have my spot, I'm fucking automatically in playoffs.
Okay, I'll put this out. I think the community took yours because yours was a little bit more under the radar for a good portion of it. Like, because you were
just more
dealing
of a
with
robbery.
it.
We're all owed 50k each.
Yeah, and that happened to you twice as well. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
you got
fucking
stitched
mockery.
twice this year.
Yep.
Which is quite frankly ridiculous. I mean, that is just
That's what
bad.
pisses me off. Everyone's talking about us like being like our record in the league and like blah blah blah. It's not our fucking record, you thick idiots. Like we literally like.
Whose spot did you? I can't even remember. So
it was 2-8 when we took it.
2-8. What's it? What did you end up on?
8 and 13 or something. 8 and 14 or something.
Yeah. Which is considerably better. Let's be honest.
And what was your record in your old team?
Yeah, the old team was 6-5, and it was in the easier division.
So you would have had 12 wins then.
Yeah, but it was because it was the easier division.
Yeah.
It was the easier division, so the wins would have been different.
Yeah. So you could have done.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, especially when you look at those bottom four teams in Division A. What Midnight, EG, Luminosity, and UYU. Or
when LG were 0-7 at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So that's what I think everyone forgets. Like, whatever, I don't really care.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're talking about it now, and we obviously spoke about the Pro League before it all kicked off, and there has been some changes. I feel like the massive overhaul in the Pro League, like you're saying, you know, your kind of standing isn't really your standing, and Midnight's technically isn't really Midnight standing. Same for the FaZe team. Yeah. Like, a lot of these teams have had such drastic changes.
Well, I mean, FaZe still deserve it because they went 6-1 in that first split. So
yeah,
they would still have been in playoffs regardless. But
yeah, it's true actually. But yeah, the rest of them, like Midnight was 12 and 10. I'll be honest with you, at some point I have to look at what before and after the controversies of what everyone actually went. I'm sure some Reddit fan will adjust them at some point to prove or to kind of show roughly what it should have been if the teams didn't change and stuff.
Yeah.
But no, it's interesting. I think at the end of the Pro League, like seeing who ends up coming out on top. E United, you know, I think if you remember the first part of this year, people weren't 100% sold on them. You know, doing as well as they have. And then, like, I don't know, like halfway through the season, they just started becoming, you know, top three sort of powerhouse, and they ended 18-4, which is a very good record. I think it's the best record in the entire Pro League.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah, which is insane, especially since they haven't got a chip yet.
I know, but that's a United though, isn't it? Like they're very up and down. Like one event they'll look like the best team there, and then there's another event they'll just look pretty shit. So I don't know. I suppose that's a consistency from Pro League, but I don't know. We often talk about Columbus and events being very, very different from each other. So they've just been the most consistent at the Pro League, but it's still a hellishly good record. You're very right. Yeah,
it is insane. Just on the off topic here, just quickly, Reese, You made a kind of a significant change with units.
Yeah, we're absolutely fucking disgusting.
I was going to ask you.
I'm not even joking. It's absolutely remarkable. I'm literally mind blown.
What, did you not have hope?
No, fucking absolutely not. I thought I was getting absolutely tucked to bed the rest of the year. No, obviously I had hope, otherwise I wouldn't have even played. But like, I thought we'd just be like a top 8 would be our like limit, like kind of thing. Like if we played well, we'd get a top 8. But our respawn is actually fucking filthy.
Nice.
And our S&D's obviously got better, just because like we played that week of games without even fucking scrimming.
Well, that's why I was going to ask you. Like, how was it adjusting? Essentially, while they do have experience at high level. How has it been kind of bringing those 3 players in to that world? Although it was only for a short time.
No, it was easy because they're just like, I don't know. It sounds weird, but they're like. It's like a big chance for them to play with like me and Joe, if you know what I mean, kind of. Like obviously, maybe less so, but
it is kind of bringing it.
It's weird to say myself, yeah. It's weird to say myself,
Yeah,
but like everyone seems to look at it that way, and like.
Well, essentially, you've elevated those 3 players, right? You've brought them into the Pro League. That's what you've done.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like they all just listen, and like we're all on the same page, and fucking just perfect. Especially on this game, we're literally our teamwork's literally fucking flawless.
And I think a lot of people forget that, like a couple of these guys, specifically Nelson, what was it, a top 6 finish in Vegas? I think Weeman was on the same team at the time, was he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got top 6 at Vegas as well. It's only Cammy, and I said it in a previous interview. Cammy was like a coin flip, and he's fucking disgusting, so yeah, wonderful news.
He was the question mark for me. Like when you picked them up, I was like, Cammy. I was like, I don't know, but he played well.
They're just like the grinders like that. I think that's the big thing. Like I knew straight away they would be good because that's also why we had Nelson as our sub because see them every night. Yeah, if I pull up my friend list, it's like 3 a.m. and I see them in a free for all playing like shooting bots and just grinding constantly 24/7, playing rank play. They're just about it. The first thing Nick done is when he came into the. I'm not going to tell you exactly what he showed us because, I mean, it's not that big, but he showed us this thing with the Tempest that we didn't know about that for some I don't know how we didn't know about it, but he showed us this thing as soon as he walked into our apartment, literally midnight he rocks in, it's like 1 a.m. He rocks into to the apartment, he goes, Mark, I need to show you something straight away, loads of the PS4 and shows me this thing. I'm like, what the fuck? And I was just like, just that sort of knowing more about the game than other players and just grinding, that's what they're all about, really.
So that's good to hear. Marky, you went through the whole Splice, the whole Pro League. How was it dealing with the team day in, day out for you in that kind of environment? I
mean, it's weird because like our team, I think in general, just doesn't get up to the games as much. I think a lot of teams are like that, but like there's definitely certain teams that are maybe more suited to being in Columbus and whatnot. Our team in general just, I don't know, just wasn't as good in Columbus and that obviously didn't go too great for us. We still got third in our pool somehow. Even though we had like an 11-11 record, we still got third in the placement and obviously going to playoffs, playing against Gen G round 1. So I mean we're pretty happy with the position we're in and obviously getting Kyler and whatnot. We're pretty blessed to be honest. We're in a good position.
It did seem like there was a period of time where your team was essentially just waiting for roster mania, if you don't mind. I mean, I'm sure at no point you guys were like, oh, who gives a shit? But it did seem like that way from the outside, kind of like the team went, oh, we'll take our foot off the gas here because let's be honest, we know we're making a team change.
Well, no, it wasn't. I wouldn't only say we took the. Well, but yeah, I completely agree. We did definitely take the foot off the gas. Like we were playing, surviving your plane taking off right now. I live next to the airport, and it's very hot, so the windows open. But like you said, yeah, we just sort of were going into a position where we obviously played with Lamar, and things weren't starting to work, and there was talk of roster changes. Which we knew were going to happen. And then it got to the point where we felt like it was the best decision to sub Nelson in. But we obviously, at the same time, had other options, but with those options weren't available until the roster change period. So it was kind of like we knew that maybe if things went unreal with Nick, we might keep him. But obviously we had opportunities like with Hugh and other players potentially, and Hugh obviously ended up being the one that came through. So
yeah, I was going to ask you if there was potential for keeping Nelson on. Do you think like if he's had a stormer,
I mean, obviously, if you go on and win the event and Nick plays good, you've got to look and say, well, this is a good fit for our team. Obviously, it worked, so that obvious conversation would happen. But I think it would have been, we needed to get like a top 3, top 2 at least to even be in consideration with the players that we had as options. So I think that regardless, it was obviously a win was unlikely. I think top 8 for us was actually, it was the weirdest event ever because every other event this year, like London, and then events we came 2nd and 3rd at, we were all depressed afterwards, but we were sort of content with 8th because we knew it was coming, we knew it was happening going forward, so it was a better feeling.
Fair enough. I thought it was interesting, and it actually reminds me, I did have another topic for this week that I can normally make notes of these things, but I forgot it. But here, so let's take that and move into the other topic because it does remind me of this whole talk about subs. Because it has come up again here. We've had Aches tweeting about, the subs, and he doesn't seem like a fan of subs, and I couldn't disagree with him more. We saw Joey Nubsy talking about it on another podcast about the Gen G situation with Spacely. For me, the sub thing is very interesting because I actually became a big advocate of subs probably around the time we saw the thing with Spliced, with Nelson coming in and elevating him up and saying, this is a good option for their team to take. You obviously needed to make a change. Yeah. So for me, I think subs are becoming more and more legitimized. And people just seemed, I almost thought that the drama was maybe overblown in some aspects, just simply because, if a team is trying something out, they have every right to try that out. Now, if they said to Spacely, you're definitely in, and then take him out again, I could see why he would be upset. But I don't mind the Ross substituting and all that. I think that's fair play. But it was just the timing and the PR and the way they sort of played everything out. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I just don't think they were making the best moves that way.
They could have handled it better.
Yeah.
I think that was it. Me and Brice were talking about this off stream the other day of how at first I was like, well, what the fuck? I mean, even when they replaced Nagafin the other week after 2nd, that was what got me. So they replaced Nagafin with Spacely after finishing 2nd at the event, then went 4-0, then replaced Spacely with Nagafin again, and it's well, you're doing good with both of them, and I get you want to try things out, and I get that's what subs can sometimes be about. But for me, it was just the. I think Nubsy summed it up best, right? He said, "Look, we wanted to try it because nobody else has really done it this year. Because nobody else has really tried their subs out and then replaced them back into them. Most of the time, subs have come in because there's been a horrific change or something's gone badly wrong. Gen G's have essentially gone right. Well, we came 2nd." But we're not sure if it's as good as it could be in this team. So they put Spacely in. I think a lot of people hung up on this 4-0. The team said, it was 4-0.
They looked worse than Hardpoint.
Yeah, but it's not something the team felt more comfortable with. That's how a sub should be used, in my mind. If you want to try something or you're just not certain, sometimes it's good to change it up. And having a sub is flexibility. It's especially when you got them for the Pro League. Right? If you want to do a week with it and they're doing a good job and you're not going to compromise that much, maybe you could learn a few things.
Yeah.
I just thought the whole thing was overblown. Ray, I know your year has kind of been overshadowed with a few big controversies and you haven't really had to deal with subs as much as others, but how do you feel about the sub situation?
I think it depends who you have as your sub. This entire year, even if our org was stable, I don't think we would have ever used the sub. Just because if you wanted to make a change, you would have just made a change and got whatever the fuck we wanted. I think it just depends on your sub, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest,
I don't think they got much changing either way. What did they gain from changing either of them? They're both just decent.
I think they were just trying to see whether or not chemistry worked a little bit better. I do think people need to take subs a bit more serious. Well, in fairness, it's the end of the year now, but they should have taken subs more seriously.
Yeah.
Picking up a good sub is dynamite.
I don't think anyone is arguing, Brice, for the logic behind subs. I think it's more so that the issue everyone was having was the timing of it, because Nagafen, obviously, they've now went back on roster merit, but Nagafen got dropped after the roster change period, so he couldn't, even though he would 100% be on another league team, he couldn't. So even if they made that decision to keep Spacely, Nagafen had to go through open bracket, even though he was 100%, even though he 100% would have been in another league team Whereas Spacely, it was a bit different. He might have got another offer from a league team, but maybe like a lower level, like Elevate or something that he doesn't want to join anyway. So it was like, I just thought it was just a completely different situation for each player, and I think it was just the timing of it. If they want,
I get that part of it. I 100% agree with that part. But like, this is what I'm saying. There was a whole conversation I saw. So I said, Eggs tweeted out. He said, and I've got it right here. I pulled it up. Substitute positions in COD are whack. Whole idea should be scrapped, which I just don't agree with. They are substitutes. These are extra people on your roster, especially with roster locks. It gives you the flexibility. I think the problem is that a lot of teams just haven't taken them seriously.
Yeah,
and we know they haven't. Most of them got their coaches.
I just don't think there's enough good players, to be honest.
But I mean, again, this is a chance. You could. I mean, sorry, women just put in the chat. Dylan is a prime example. People. You need to elevate those players into playing with the pro league teams, and a lot of subs still get to play in the open stuff. There's no reason to try and pick up the best possible sub you can in case something happens.
Dylan got subbed in. Dylan got subbed in a roster change period anyway. He didn't get subbed in because he was a sub mid fucking like, oh fuck, we're falling apart. Get Dylan in immediately.
Yeah, but he was
the roster change period anyway, so it didn't matter if he was a sub or not a sub.
Yeah,
so Dylan's not a prime.
I just think subs are good. First of all, like if someone's ill for a scrim, you can bring in a sub and still get decent practice. Because these people are still going to be grinding.
Do that? You just take the day off, you? Like it's not as if you're ill. You fucking can't fucking sit at your desk unless you're literally fucking dying.
I just think there's no reason against it. I can't.
No, I'm not saying there's a reason against it. I just think the only problem is there's not enough good players for the sub to be used how it's meant to be used. I agree with how the sub's meant to be used, but there's not enough good people.
We don't even know if there's a. Well, I don't know if I can agree with that because there are definitely players outside the pro league who could probably play in it now.
Meh.
I mean, they're probably not,
lower level like.
But also, we don't know how many teams there are next year.
Oh, we do. It's 12.
All right, it's been confirmed. But if it is 12, that's 4 less teams. That's 20 extra players floating about.
Is it though? In fact, I'm not even going to talk about this. Never mind.
Well, we're speculating on
let's not talk about this.
Yeah, we basically have to speculate on pretend we don't know things. Marky is what we're doing.
No one gives a fuck about the 16th team in the league making subs. Like,
yeah,
the 16th team in the league making a sub's not going to make them a top 8 team. They're still fucking shit. Like, I think like for the sub like for a top team to be able to utilize the sub situation properly, there's just not good enough players.
Yeah, I can see that.
Especially the Nagafen situation, they're literally on the same. They're both decent.
Yeah. It's
not as if you're swapping a fucking gunless for Nagafen, and then it's.
I suppose the difference is because the pro league doesn't matter like game by game as much as it could do. Like, if you take it to like a normal sports game, they're obviously trying to win every single match. Whereas in the pro league, if you have a bad week, it's never the end of the world. Whereas it's a little bit different when you've maybe got less games and you want to try and get out every win out. So maybe you do throw in a left field or try to get
It's also you have to make the sub and use them for the entire week. Like
see, some people got away with
like if you could use them if you could use them series to series. So say you're playing a team, know you have to win the S&Ds against. Sub in Spacely, win all the fucking S&Ds, you win that series, and then the next series after, we have to win the respawns, and your respawns better with an Agathon, you sub him in after. Because the fact you have to use him for like the entire 2 weeks or week or whatever it is.
You might have like a player that's like able to perform really well on the AR maps, but like
that's what I mean. You play in a certain team where you know the maps you're going to play better with.
Yeah.
One person. Yeah. You have to use them for the entire week. So,
and I think we'll see more of that.
You can change your series to series. Yeah, probably. Well, it's rumored.
Yeah. Well, series would be good. I don't know if we need to go all the way to map to map.
No,
I mean, that would be insane.
That'd be shit. You'd be subbing 5 people out and just getting 5.
It'd be taking 20 minutes for 2 map. For 1 map.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, I suppose plus things like momentum and people are being warmed up and stuff makes a big difference.
That'd be terrible. I think series to series is ideal, but
I think it would also be more tactical as well because both teams would be like, right, they're going to sub in. Yeah.
In fairness,
series to series. Go on.
In League of Legends, can you not sub map to map? Obviously, League of Legends, a map can be like an hour.
It's just a lot different.
I know it's different, but I'm just like, imagine sitting backstage. Yeah, imagine like sitting backstage and just like, you're playing next game, man.
Didn't I also read like some Overwatch teams have 5 subs just because like so they can scrim each other?
Yeah, a lot of the Overwatch rosters are like they've got
Big.
like all the 6 stars, then they've got another whole sub team, and then they've got like academy team with subs for the academy team, shit like that. There's just like loads of players.
Yeah.
Like each organization probably owns most of them probably own like a good 20 players.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't mind that sort of system. I think for players it can be a bit daunting because no player is ever going to want to be put on a sub bench ever, like in a million years. And obviously they'll probably end up kicking off. But I think it also will probably keep players on their toes. You know, you got a player lacking motivation if he knows there's somebody dead hungry, who's may not be as far below him as he thinks he is, ready to go in. That player, suddenly might be a little bit more responsive in trying to get better and improving, and his attitude might be better because. Let's face it right now, in between roster locks, some players probably do get quite complacent. We are still seeing tweets about people not turning up on time for scrims. Like surely that's the entire focus of a player's day is to get there on time to play those practice games so that they get better for their job. And they're still not doing it because there is complacency.
It's just like the lazy attitude, to be honest with you, as well. Like there's players that have just competed for years and they're like just content with just keeping doing what they're doing, but now it's like obviously a lot more serious. And like back in the day, everyone used to just turn up late and like it was just
that's not when
chill and like
thousands of pounds a month.
Yeah, and now that's what I mean. I feel like you've got really no excuse now unless there's actually some crazy reason. Like being in bed is no longer a valid excuse whatsoever.
Well, you'd think it wouldn't be, but people still bloody do it.
I found it quite funny the other day when John was calling people out when he is like known as a serial time torture.
He was being fully sarcastic, but
I know, but it was just one of them, wasn't it?
He was cheeky for it though. He was super cheeky for that though.
It's like, come on, man.
Because he has been he's been torching everyone's time all year.
No, he was just doing that though, just as a bite at Matt.
Yeah.
So it wasn't actually because they weren't on time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can. I don't know. I've always considered subs to be a good thing in terms of like I don't really see the downsides of it, but maybe you're right. The system has to be changed a little bit. Maybe series v series would be a little bit better. But I think if you have a few subs in these teams that are obviously coming in next year, and 7 have been announced so far, they're going to take it more seriously. If a player is late, I mean, here's something I've already said. I've already had a discussion with a couple of franchise owners, and one of them told me this. I don't know how much I can say. Said they've been looking over the last 6 months at players' attitudes and how they go in. And they've already said, there are people I've already blacklisted just off attitude. He goes, people I just will not consider picking up for the team because of their attitudes in regards to just about anything. Because they're not messing around. Like it's not messing around in terms of like people. You're going to get profiled. A player will now be profiled, not just on what they do in game, but what they are like as a person. Because when there's 25 million minimum investment coming in here, you don't get to call the shots anymore. You don't get to be, lazy or have a I don't care attitude. It's not cool. It's stupid, and you will lose your job. It's genuinely going to happen.
First. You're going to get fined first.
At this point, you might not even get picked up next year. You might think, you're a pretty good player, but if you're not viable for a brand, it's not going in. Like, you're just not going to get it. It's millions and millions on the thing here. And the people, putting these strings with the millions of investments do not give a shit how good you think you are at hardpoint. If you are not viable to help them get a return on their investment, to help them to build their brand or make their mark in this next year franchising, you can kiss your career goodbye.
Yeah, it's bombshell mic drop. Let's talk.
Fucking hell.
Let's stop the show, lads.
Sorry.
You just went in there.
I haven't had a rant in a
Bryce,
while.
right, bro. Jesus Christ. Bryce wants to kill somebody.
Yeah, homie's on the pre-workout rage.
Bryce is clipping this and sending it to all these orgs who've already bought a spot. Look, I'll be your GM, boys. Don't you this player.
It's something that I've been mentioning for ages, and people are still messing about.
Yep.
It's just, and obviously this isn't gonna, a lot of the players aren't gonna see this or whatever. But I've always cared if the players are doing well. I don't want to see anybody's, career ruined, or they get a lesser offer, or they don't get to go to the team they want to go to because they've been an idiot, quite frankly.
Well, let's move on to the next topic.
Next topic.
This
Well, this next
I don't
topic
even
is on the same vein.
I don't even know.
It's on the same vein, right? Trash talking.
Me winning playing bracket. Oh. Me winning
Trash
playing
talking
bracket.
what?
Trash talk. And Reese, you could take part in this.
Yeah, I
love a good bad mouth.
This is your bread and butter.
Go on, tell us how it is, Reese.
No, not so much anymore, really.
When was the
Not
last
in
time you
game,
got
anyway.
really involved?
I suppose you could say.
Here's what I will say. And
I
this-
actually can't fucking remember. Like, literally, it was before World War II. Like, in an actual game where I've actually stuck it on someone bad.
yeah.
No, because Bricey was messaging before. Was it? Oh, I might message Claire, see if I can get him on. I was like,
And then I went,
can we have
"Oops,
these
wait
two
a
on?
minute." And I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't.
No,
get
but that really wasn't in game, though.
No.
Well,
No,
not me,
no.
Claire, right now.
Yeah, but this is what I'm talking about here. Like, there's two sides to this coin, right? Trash talking and on one side of it, and people sometimes don't like it. Like, I've seen Clay tweet out about him getting hate from fans when he gets hyped at the end of a match, and then we'll have see a Reddit page saying there's no personality in COD the next week. This has all come about, by the way, because obviously what's been going on Twitter.
Carson.
Yeah. And the new copy pasta we've got going. But I don't know what people think of it. Should we be expecting more of this or less of this? Because it is a difficult line to tread between.
Yeah, the right people have to do it. Like,
Yeah.
if everyone tries doing it, it'll just become an absolute fiesta. But
Yeah.
the right people have to be doing it.
I think Donny Temp's allowed to chat rubbish. He's just great.
Yeah, he's just fucking hilarious, isn't he? He's literally like,
he just,
I don't think it's anything malicious. He's literally just absolutely hilarious.
yeah,
I
he
think
just
that's
loves it.
how the most people. Yeah, that's how I think how most people take it.
He
Besides,
He
obviously
doesn't even
Carson's dad.
amongst our team. Like, he'll chat shit to like everyone in the team, like about just their COD gameplay or anything. That's just the way he is. It's not like he's not pretending.
Yeah. I think it's better in like on stage interviews and stuff. Like, if you've seen like.
Yeah, I don't think it's something you can force. I
Yeah,
feel like you either got the banter or you don't.
like Jess will come on stage at the league, right? And then I'll have my headset. I'm sitting listening. Like, when Jess does ask the players what their quote is for the in between first and second map and whatnot. And sometimes she'll go to like interview Looney or something, and then Donnie will just go, "Nah, don't interview him. Just say on just." This was the last one before we played UIU. I was in tears. He literally stops Looney mid quote and goes, "In fact, don't say any of that. Just go up and stage and say that Temp says the classic is horrible and we're going to win the match." and that's what she said. Looney had it with some like respectable quote, and then Donnie just.
See, I like that though. I enjoy that because there are ways to do this. Like, I think the example that has stuck in my mind for God, I don't even know how old this quote is, but it was from Walshy back in the Halo days. And before a big game going on, I think he was talking about the Ogre Twins.
Classic interview.
And he was just saying, it's like taking candy from a baby. And just said it in an interview and smiled at the camera.
And the whole crowd was going, "Rah!"
Yeah, and everyone went mental. And it wasn't vulgar. It wasn't crass. It was just very well done trash talking and banter. And there is, I think it's
Banter.
Context though. I think it's got to be banter. Is there banter?
Oh, banter.
All right, jeez.
Friends.
I think it's Context though, because the problem is that fans take it very personal sometimes, because they don't understand maybe the behind the scenes in the pro stuff. Like, it's probably easier behind the scenes in terms of like understanding that player may be messing with you, or you two have a rapport backstage. But because it's not on stage and because it's not in social, until it is in social, they don't understand all the history between you two.
Like, I see that with like Temp or something. He'll tweet like Slasher roasting him or something, but people don't. But then you have like 100 T fans responding to Temp like defending Slasher and shit, and then Slasher and Temp are at the event like hanging around together 24/7.
Right.
They're just bantering each other on the timeline, and they're, like, a lot of fans obviously don't understand that, which like isn't their fault at the same time, because they're not there. They're not experiencing. They're not seeing that these people actually have relationships. So it's kind of hard to like fault them for that, but at the same time, I think some of the fans do need to, at the same time, take a breather sometimes, and just before you start spamming your keyboard, all the rage, just think.
Oh, there was a lot of anger.
Just if there's actually roasts going on the timeline, like Brack and Temp, then go for it.
You say Brack and Temp, it's mostly just being Temp and Brack's
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Like,
Temp and fucking Carson's dad, like.
Swinging it at Miami.
Mate. When Temp
Brother
tweeted
Brack
back
is a
last
word.
night.
I've
Hasn't
not
said
actually
a
seen this
thing.
tweet, by the way. I've not seen this.
It was bad.
Was it bad?
Yeah,
I've not seen
hold
it.
on, let's see.
You can send it to me, but as we keep talking, I think because if you go back, like obviously we've been around this for a while now. Let's cast our minds back, like maybe even 5 years, and talk about, but probably not even as long ago as that, because I remember the big push to kind of shut down trash talking in passion pits because it was getting out of hand. And it did come from the pro side. You know, fans would see pros or AMs would see pros going at each other on main stages, trying to get each other in each other's head. And a lot of it, you know, after the game, you'd still hang around and talk, and it wouldn't be like a blood feud. But it would be loud, and it would be very hyped and very energetic, and you would stand up and, you know, talk some smack. And then you'd see in the amateurs in the passion pit just screaming out the most horrific things they could think of against people they don't even know. And I suppose it's that kind of context, you know, and it's taken a while to kind of bring it down even to the level it is now. And yeah, that is a good one. MarkyB versus Matt Cat was a fantastic one. I'm sure many people remember, you know, how that ended up going.
Yeah, that was a great match. I wasn't even. That's the thing a lot of fans don't understand, because whenever they've seen that video, they think that I was playing against them, but I wasn't even playing against them. I was playing against another team, and Dylan was sitting behind them chatting shit to me. And we came back and won the series, obviously, and I just went mental. I don't know. That was like.
I just feel like back in the day, it was
a nice series, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just feel like in the back of the day, like all the insults were like personal. I feel like.
Oh yeah.
Whereas now, I feel like like everyone used to like go in on each other hard back in the day.
Because that
That's when
used to be
I feel like now it's just more like.
I'm pretty sure.
you used to
I used to be
people.
unbelievable. I used to at the time of my life I wouldn't even call out in maps. I'd just literally stick around people.
Yeah.
Fucking Shane was good at it.
A lot more like serious. Like
it used to be a pastime at events. I mean, I've trash talked at events that I was just losing everything at, which is every event I went to.
I am 100% certain. I know that we're very PG on this show. Well, we're not actually at all. I definitely heard. I'm sure Shane said he was going to stick it up Damon's girlfriend's arse at one point during a game.
That's the infamous one, isn't it? That was main stage in the Norbreak.
Yeah, I remember that.
And no, he didn't just say that. He then said no foreplay straight in.
Oh, that was it. Yeah. That was it. Classic.
That's what I mean. It used to be a lot
imagine
more
they said that now. Oh my god.
I feel like for most part now the trash talk's just in-game shit, so it doesn't even matter. Everything's just pretty chill and just allow it to happen. Like.
But I mean, could you imagine that in context today? Like two of the biggest teams, remember at the time. If you remember on any main stage, in any Call of Duty event now, if Shane had said that, I think there'd be a lynch mob waiting for him outside of main stage, ready to kill him. Like, could you imagine him saying that at an event today?
Oh.
Yeah, it wouldn't go down well.
No.
I mean that's the change of it now. Like there's not.
It's a lot more mature now, anyway. So I don't think it's that bad. I don't mind it. I think it's also changed the open bracket. You know, it has become. While there is still a good amount of screaming and a good amount of trash talking, it's not as bad as
shouting, isn't it? It's not
Well, like all the players now, like back in those days, right? Players like realistically, so like you're talking like Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 2, all those times. Everyone had only been going to events together for like 2 years, 3 years max, right? And everyone only seen each other for like a couple of months, and everyone was very cliquey, and there wasn't a lot of people having good friendships with everyone. Whereas now, all the pro players, everyone's like at least somewhat friendly with each other, unless they have something truly against each other. But most of the time, everyone's backstage at the pro league, everyone's talking to each other, everyone's in the pro lounge talking to each other. Like, do you know what I mean? Everyone's with each other too much to like actually hate each other. It's just the way it is now. So
yeah, that's a really good point. You can't really scream at somebody when you know you're going to be either in the scrim stations with them, then in the pro league, and then probably at the hotel, and maybe at the bar after the thing. There's like no escaping these players.
You don't actually hate them. Whereas before, like there were some players, like even though just because I didn't know them, I would just hate them. But like, I know everyone now, so it's kind of like it's hard to get yourself up emotionally for the game. Thinking, I hate these guys. I want to just fry these guys.
I haven't seen anyone square up for quite some time now.
That is true. Do you remember when? Do you remember the days when "Fight Me at Land" used to be a common saying after scrims?
I think the last time we see anyone nearly square up was you and Clay, and that was it, really.
The last time I nearly seen someone square up was Jordan Reed and a bunch of 14-year-olds at UMG. me and Reese were teaming. Me and Reese, Jordan Reed, and Jordan Reed was nearly fighting little 14-year-olds who were using.
He was actually going to beat up a 14-year-old.
That was the last time I. Oh my god! I remember we got up and started screaming at these guys after winning the last map, right? Little 14-year-old kids, we were like 19, 20. And then I stood up, took my headset off, and Doug said some Martin's right behind us. He goes, "I wish my team had that passion, man."
What's better, this story or that impression of offense?
Oh
my god! Reed doesn't come on the show for 1 week, and you just put it on him.
Wait, I didn't put it on.
That's not fun at all.
We didn't told that story.
He'd tell you himself, yeah.
Probably would. But as I was saying, yeah, it has changed. Like, and I'd be curious to see what you think, and like, because there's always this accusation of not enough personality in COD, right? You know, you've got Aches has said it before. You know, he likes being the villain. Aches loves being the villain. Clay's always bringing hype.
Like.
Yeah.
So it's nothing about personality, not having personality. It's just that people don't like the people who have personality. So there's just not many of them.
Yeah. Well, I think the problem is as soon as you're a little bit outspoken, you become easier to kind of for people to judge. And they always do two things. Here's the thing they'll do. They'll either attack your recent games, like if you haven't won a game recently or a chip or whatever, they'll go straight for that. If not, they go personal. And it's always the fans that do it, and it's always like the most horrific of stuff.
Or the dads.
Yikes.
Oh yeah, fans are just delusional. Like I'm painted out to be this cunt when it's like the complete opposite. If you actually speak to me.
Well, I've actually said that about you at events before. Like backstage, you're like the most nicest guy in the world. Like you always got a big smile on your face.
I'm
and
the
you're ready to
nicest
go.
guy to everyone. I'm just super like honest. Like, what do you want me to be like?
Yeah.
Like, my biggest pet peeve is people being two-faced. I'm not that type of person.
I think
I'll just tell you how it is.
A lot of people
I've always thought that about. Sorry, go on.
A lot of people realize that about Reedy. I think like since we've had him on here a lot more, a lot of people sort of seem more receptible to like stuff he's got to say. Whereas obviously on Twitter and all the shit that's on X, etc., people just don't like know people. That's the thing. So it's
no, they just don't have a clue. Yeah, they're like
And people judge people off 106 like tweets. It's hard to obviously gauge someone off Twitter as well because you're not hearing the way they're portraying things, and you're just getting 160 or however many characters it is nowadays.
Yeah, I can say. I think like in regards to you, Reese, people have judged you more off tweets when you lose, which I can understand it in part because
I don't actually do anything bad when I lose.
Not anymore. But that's the thing. Not anymore. But for some reason, people have a long and short memory. Like they'll just remember you used to say a lot of stuff back in the day after you lost. And they'll kind of just judge you off that snapshot of you in a bad moment where you've had a hard loss.
I don't really think I was tweeting anything too bad, like. I don't know.
No, I agree. No, I don't really. Nothing really comes to mind. But I think if you only had to look at the replies to you on Twitter to kind of show the venom that.
I don't give a fuck. They're all idiots. I literally couldn't care.
That's fair. I'll be very curious to see how all this what rules are next year because I know the Overwatch League has some fairly strict code of conduct rules. Yeah.
I would actually love to just leave my Twitter.
You might have to, pal.
Well, my Twitter's not bad. You actually blasted.
No, you're
on my Twitter immediately.
In fact, I was going to say this earlier, right? I think considering what has happened to you this year, Reese, the fact that you haven't got
gone off the fucking rails.
I was very shocked to not see you go berserk.
Families, like what? My Twitter's not even bad anymore.
Yeah, you're right. It's good. It's good now. It's good now. There was a period a little while ago where you were just putting it on people, or after a loss, you were saying mean things. I think right now, it's the case of how does this progress from here? Because you are right in the fact that it is specific people are better at it than others. And you have to be careful what you say. And it has to be at least somewhat funny. Like, I mean, there's been tweets this year. Parasite's copy pasta was funny. But I don't know if it was meant to be funny.
I forgot about that.
I don't know if he's deadly serious.
Yeah, deadly serious.
That was so funny. I couldn't tell. Like, how do you tell from that?
What was it again?
So I think
Something
he's
like,
like,
my friend, friend of mine, blah blah blah. Something. I hope someone gets you or Gamma gets you or some bullshit.
it's a good shout from Edgar there. And the smartest thing would be every player should just go and delete their tweets. Should just go and kind of delete every tweet after the season ends, and just leave it, or at least do the search word thing and just try to get rid of as many as possible.
That was it. Pipe down, you're worthless. You're not a friend of mine, and I honestly hope the rest of your career is plagued with failure. You will never be a champion. You are a coward. It's just one of those that's not like he hasn't even had to like swear or anything. He's just put it on the line, put his feelings down. That was a fucking great time. Twitter's still free, by the way. Anyway, continue.
All right, let's get some questions in the chat from people because I don't want to leave these two because we're actually disrupting Marky's and Reese's scrim schedule for this, which we do appreciate. But yeah, put some questions in the chat as we continue on with this, and I'll quickly pick them up in a few minutes. So the kind of the last thing on this is how to play. How do you think orgs are going to deal with it in the future? Because I mean, Edgar brought up a good point about there are a lot of guidelines in the OWL, and I wonder.
Player will have a social media manager.
Yeah. I think that's the future.
Or I think. Like, I don't think any players will even use their Twitter. Like, I don't know, I can't speak for everyone, but I literally don't even care about Twitter. I would literally delete it if I didn't have to have it. So I think everyone will just have, like, social media managers who will just tweet, like, the boring shit that you have to tweet.
Yeah.
That'll be there.
Potentially, yeah.
I think that's probably the best way. I mean, some of the players I would consider, like, at least be allowing to contribute in a way that's more kind of free thing, because there is some good comedy that comes out of it. But I do agree with the fact that I think, because I know players have been spoken to before, right? I know there's been meetings about player conduct before, and fines have been handed out. You know, some of I think there's been more fines handed out than I know, or less fines, because I don't actually kind of keep a track of everyone who has been fined. Most players are quite happy to talk about it if they do get fined. I know that
Reese, you've definitely been fined.
Reese, have you been fined?
Oh, me? Oh, yeah, 100%. What? I can't remember. My last one was ages ago. I've been fined in ages.
Like some of them are obvious. Like, you know, sometimes players are getting fined, like, regardless. Like Reedy back at ESWC, you knew he was getting fined the second he walked off a stage after calling the game out. And some a little bit more behind the scenes. So I think it's going to be. Mark just remembered what he said. I think it's going to be more kind of on top of players next year. Marky, I don't know if you have anything. You're the coach, right? Do you do any of that side of it, or do you ever kind of say to the players? Did you speak to Tim?
Could you imagine Mark? Listen here, Donny. I'm going to need you to calm it down.
Wait, I don't think I mean,
no, Donny's tweets weren't even bad.
I don't even think that's that bad. I mean, he obviously was going a bit hard, but like he didn't get personal. I think that's fine.
Nah, yeah. As long as you don't get personal, I think it's all good. Like, it's all fair game.
I generally think the league and stuff like the
100%. As long as you're not being personal.
As long as what they do, I don't think they care.
Yeah, but I mean, what I mean by that is, like, do you go and say, yeah, don't do any worse than that? That's fine, just in case, because it would only take one kind of hot-blooded moment or something stupid for a player to tweet out, and it's like, oh god, now I've got to deal with this.
Yeah, it's just knowing your limits and knowing what you can and can't say.
Yeah, knowing the line. There's a very fine line, and as long as you don't cross it, you're good.
Yeah. I can do that. All right, let's move on to questions from the chat. Do coaches get paid the same as players? I don't think so.
Just varies. It's like,
there are some.
I don't think there'd be many coaches that get paid
the coaches
more.
deals with their own contract, so.
Yeah.
Just depends.
I mean, I know Mark's on like $1 million a year or something like that with Spliced, of course. But,
Mark's on more than me because I haven't been paid since February, so.
Good Marky's job. I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I don't even know what Love Island actually is. By the way.
Oh, what a show!
Don't even know what it is.
You do.
I just see people tweeting about it. I imagine it's a load of men and women, which is basically like every reality show. And that's about all I know.
Yeah, that's about it.
I'm guessing there's a beach.
Wait,
no.
No.
You're just pretending not know what it is to be.
Mate,
true.
I see these tweets. I see these tweets.
It's Island, and they're having love on it, mate. Love Island.
Well, that just sounds like porn.
Well, it's getting there. Like,
You've just described porn.
It's softcore for sure.
Oh, Jesus. All right, let's move away from that topic. Somebody asking me about plans for next year. Possibly, Ethan. I don't really know. But you know, I'm not gonna just even think about that until I know what the lay of the land is next year. Who do you guys see getting through play-in?
We're getting for playing 100%.
Units, I'm gonna call them.
I said to Joe last night.
Deadly serious, by the way. People think I'm fucking joking.
I said to Joe last night that they were beating the LG.
They're getting tucked to bed. I'm telling you.
I don't know. I just got weird.
Do you think
feeling
Do you think Temper's got in his head?
I was
think he's in Brack's head.
They
No,
were
it's
fucking
not
shit. They were getting tucked anyway. I wanted
to.
to chime in and say, well, I don't know, you're all getting hyped for Spliced and LG. LG be on the beach by Friday, 5 p.m. So
No, but maybe that's just because I fucking love all the guys in units. I could just see.
it's happening. Shut up. I know about.
Yeah.
But
I just got-
you couldn't have gotten a tougher matchup, I think.
I don't give a fuck. when we beat them and we get top 4 at playoffs, so I'll either be out by Friday at 5 o'clock or I'm getting top 4 at playoffs. No in between.
It's a good place to be. To be fair, a good position.
Yeah, so like I'll either be out on Friday and then
Or...
like yeah, that's what I mean. We'll either be out and then we wouldn't have done anything in playoffs anyway, or we'll beat them and then we'll be getting top 4. So I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I'm quite looking. I think your game is probably the best game to watch out of that playing
It's a
bracket to begin
spicy
with.
one, like.
It is. That's gonna be a hell of a game. The rest will be interesting, but maybe that game, especially to kick things off and see how it all kind of lays out.
Yeah, it's just a be a good game. Like if you would have asked me before I played with this team, I would have said we got absolutely violated, but our respawn's literally disgusting. And obviously our SND is better there.
That and LG are gonna have no idea about like Cammy and that's play styles or anything. Like they won't have any idea of any kind of habits they have.
Who do you play if you beat them?
Midnight or Elevate. Well, if we beat them and I'm losing to anybody else in that fucking bracket, you have me on.
All right.
Imagine that. Beat LG, lose to Midnight the next round. I'll literally fucking... I'd drown myself in the sea.
I'm seeing Benji's talking about Crim's tweet, but I don't know what he's referencing. Crim's tweet, Activision has the best people on it working on it. Let me know.
No,
Rated, are you going to scrim any NA teams prior to Miami?
not prior to Miami. We'll play them when we get there. Like the
Fair
Wednesday, the Thursday before and the Friday before our game. Playing Heretics at the moment. They're not very good.
Fair enough.
We could go on about Heretics' changes, but
It's just
We'll be
for
here
me.
all night.
It's just like just a mess. That team has got like I've heard they got so many management there that may be the problem. I don't know what's going on because they seem to either have this stage where they're fantastic for an event or they're terrible, and I have no idea what it's going to be when they turn up.
It's just this game. Like the way they play as well. They play one way. If they're winning their gunfights, they'll smoke you. If they're losing their gunfights, they'll lose. That's literally how they play the game.
Fair enough.
Fair
enough. Just a quick one. Edgar for OWL finds a public and listed on the official website. That'll be great if it's for that in card. I'd love to see public finds. To see who's the most fined of the year. Rated, are you still looking for a coach / analyst?
No.
Oh, does that mean you've got someone or you're not looking?
We've got someone.
Oh, nice. I wonder who
who
that
are
is.
you not saying?
That's it.
Okay.
Oh, that makes me even more intrigued. All right, we'll move on. For Rated and Marky, what is their favourite moment from their competitive careers so far? Let's start with Marky. Who's got?
I don't know, man. I'd say like I wouldn't say it was. I don't know. It's a hard one. The one I enjoyed the most was top 3 at ML Janheim on Ghosts, just because of like the
Context of the time?
The context of the time. Yeah, no European team had placed inside top 8, and like we went all the way. We lost in round 1, and we went all the way through losers finals from top 12 or top 16 or whatever it was. So like it was a good run as well, and we beat some like teams that like done well at the previous event. So that was a good one, I suppose. I think that that wasn't a win, but also I guess the European one I'd say is probably beating what were they called, Epsilon at the time in the Ghost regionals finals. So both in Ghosts actually, to be fair, and then obviously Team Reese at the end of Ghosts.
I was an absolute beast at the end of that fucking game.
Yeah, we won't talk about that.
End of
We made some.
How have I actually not won an event? It's actually fucking disgusting.
I
Wait
forgot.
a minute, are you talking about the end of Ghosts?
ESWC, we made the final, and I literally
yeah.
subbed up to the event on the Friday. Or on a flight Friday morning, played the first game and absolutely violated everyone at the event.
I remember that. That was the end of the EG COD era, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah,
That was the last game they ever played together.
we won an
Yeah,
S&D
yeah,
and Moose got a 1v4 and 1v3 back-to-back rounds. And that was the only map we won in the final. Every time I played TP, he was fucking world starring, but everyone else, he was shitting the sheets. Every time I played TP, he was 20-5, destroying everyone. On Black Ops 2, Ghosts, whenever I played him, he was my hard counter.
Fair enough. I suppose we better ask Reese. Raid, what is... Say again?
Mine's pretty obvious, isn't it? Like making,
XP?
Yeah, making champs finals. Like
Yeah.
it'll forever be in EU history unless an EU team wins champs. So
That is true.
it's just forever going to be there. So
I remember that. I remember people being very upset that like a lot of big teams had gone out that tournament.
yeah, we literally ran through.
It's
everybody.
literally not going to happen unless a EU team wins this year. And
Yeah, like the closest it's come to was last year, and we fucking bottled champs, man. Oh my god. Last year's champs was the easiest champs for an EU team ever, and we absolutely fucking bottled it.
Last year's chance was insane though. Like, I don't know what happened when we got to the event.
If we didn't choke that LG series, I'm literally convinced we win the event.
It's possible.
Like literally every team that was left, we literally smoke every time we played them.
I still can't wrap my head how you lot didn't win an event last year.
Oh, just don't let's not speak about it. Yeah,
It was Anaheim.
like champs.
It was
Yeah,
Anaheim.
Anaheim's the one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate to be that guy, by the way, but I'm going to have to leave you.
No problem. We've only got a few minutes left, buddy.
So I can deal with them there for me anyway. It's all good.
Okay, sorry, lads.
Hi, Mark.
I'm late for scrims, and I'm seeing my whole team and the team speaking. I'm not there, so that's kind of, not on.
Yeah.
a
So
big
if you're
stock.
if you're not there to hype them up, they'll never get the
Yeah,
scrims done.
that's true.
All right.
Bye. See you later.
No problem.
Just
Mark,
having
thanks for
fun.
coming on.
Bye.
All right. Well, we've only got a few more kind of questions left, and all of a sudden everything's gone to pop. So Tunn will sort that out as we'll go through these. Best trash talk you've ever heard. When you talk trash talk, the one that sticks in mind is either that Walshy one, or, and this is like super obscure, Riddles, way back in Loughborough, I think, ECL3, when it was still called ECL3.
There's a throwback.
And I can't remember the guy. I can't remember the guy on the other team's name, but he had a big nose, and Riddles would just not leave him alone for so long.
No, Zach was good at it. He was pretty good at it. Him and Shane were really good back in the day.
Yeah, Shane. Oh yeah, I suppose Shane's is up there.
Yeah.
I don't actually know. I can't put my finger on a
In
single
COD,
time.
it's difficult.
Yeah,
But
outside of Riddles, Shane, and that one, it's difficult to. I mean, I could speak about Mad Cat's trash talk, where he trashed it after winning season 2 Pro League, where he started trash talking the European scene. That was pretty good.
No, that was just a lot of shit.
It's interesting. It does not many stick out. Mainly is.
Yeah, I couldn't put my finger on one.
Ray, this question is directly for you. What made you pick up Cammy over Chain?
Well, I mean, I think they're different roles anyway, and I don't know. Cammy was just it was like the three of them. They were already together when Nick, Weeman, and Cammy were already together. So it was like
easier to just kind of pull that.
it was
whole
just
thing
like
out.
just get three of them then instead of nitpicking. But Cammy, I just knew Cammy was like rumored to be like a massive warrior who just joke people, so it was just like a risk. Like I said in the hot mic thing, it was like a 50-50. He was either going to be really good or really shit, and he's actually really good. So I finally got lucky one time, so we'll see.
Fair enough. This next one's interesting, I think. Do you think Optic's boot camp will help? And I have a thing about boot camps because I've been to several, and I always think the results are so mixed. I can never tell whether they actually do any good or anything.
I think just boot camp's just 50-50. I don't think it ever benefits or it just depends on the team. Like it's not going to benefit them any more than the previous boot camps they've done. Like I don't know. Boot camps are just better. You're just playing teams online. Like you don't really see the
It's better than
negative.
playing online.
Yeah, there's no real negative to it.
I think sometimes I think for established teams they don't. If there's not a lot that you can kind of really expect to learn in those 2 weeks, I don't know whether it's the biggest help.
It depends how seriously you're taking it as well, because scrims are very different to tournament play, aren't they? So it's
I mean, I don't know. It's mixed. You take like the last one I actually went to, TCM versus Team Envy. I was in the Envy house for a week. They went to a boot camp, right? and TCM were beating Envious on more maps than Envious were beating TCM. I think it was at one point it was quite heavily in TCM's favour. They were bodying Team Envy, and then go to the champs, which is what they were boot camping for. Envy came second.
Top 12.
Yeah, TCM got top 12. Like, I don't know whether or not
I don't think
Envy.
that was anything to do with the boot camp, though. I think like TCM just bottled that event. No.
Yeah, but I don't know whether maybe some things wore off, some good habits wore off, maybe, or it just relaxed Team Envy. I don't know, but from that. And we said before, didn't Optic boot camp last time, and then they had a bad event?
They boot camped before every event. I'm pretty sure this year.
I don't know. I don't know if boot camps are as beneficial as it could be. Maybe it's just
it just varies from team to team.
Yeah.
Like, it's good for some teams, it's bad for others. Just depends on the team.
Yeah. This one's directly for you, Reddit, as well. What do you think about only scrimming AMs and Heretics? Do you think you may not be as well prepared for the other teams?
I mean, we didn't scrim when we beat FaZe, so we're going to be more prepared than we were that week when we looked Unreal, so...
That's fair enough. I suppose you'll take...
Our respawn's literally disgusting, so like it doesn't really matter like who the fuck we're playing, we're just running through them. Just S&T, that was literally the only thing we had to fix that week, and we've had time to go over it, so... Like, we didn't scrim that week, and we played fine, so... Not going to get worse.
Is there any particular EU AM teams that you're looking at that actually?
Like getting all dusted, look, literally all bad. Like, it's just boring. I'm literally just bored. I just want to get to the event already. It's just boring as fuck.
No, not long now. Week
Yeah.
you'll be there.
Like it's annoying that our respawn's actually like really, really good. Like I wish it was just, like the other way around. So like we could go over things when we're scrimming these teams, but like just like all we've been doing is really just playing just to like for the just sake of keeping warm. Like yeah. It's like we know our respawn's good, so just have to get into the same.
Here's one. Thoughts on someone wanting 3 nights off before Miami? That's from Bids. I don't know who he's talking about, but clearly he has someone in mind.
I don't know about 3 nights off. Like, I mean, we usually take the day off before we travel, but 3 nights is a bit ambitious, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite a long time.
Yeah, I can see it having
especially
a
if you're
day or two off
yeah,
before an event. Like, you're not going to learn anything.
We just take the day off before we travel. Just so you can get everything ready and like you're not fucking...
Especially like if it's coming from Bids, it's going to be talking about somebody who'd be playing in the open bracket.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So you're not even going to be scrimming before that Friday.
Yeah, this is your last shot for the year.
So yeah, it's a bit... Especially that's their qualification for jams as well.
Yeah.
He'd be dropped, he'd be off. He'd be out with the team.
No, there's no fucking around then. You gotta
3 days is a bit much. 3 days is a bit much.
Yeah, 100%.
Right, we'll go for the last question now, shall we? And this is actually directly to you again, Rated.
He's popular, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, yeah.
Absolutely loved.
I remember seeing you and Joe on the podcast talking about saving money and Trey and Matty burning it last year. Are you glad you looked after that cash?
Well, yeah, otherwise I'd be absolutely fucked. And yeah, I'd be fucking, yeah. Well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
It's just a bizarre situation this year, but I mean, I think you should always keep your money anyway. Like
we've talked about this on
yeah, it's
quite
just
a
like
lot.
Buying like $2,000 bags every month. Like it's just,
yeah, this
it's just not me. Like
irrelevant of the
even
money
if I was
involved.
even if I was still getting paid, I wouldn't be doing that shit. Like so
irrelevant of the money involved in the scene right now. It's not a lifelong career.
Oh yeah, no, you need to make as much money as possible and fucking make like.
If you can get out of this and you've got a house,
yeah, then you
there you
cake
go.
do. That's what I mean.
Absolutely, a lot of people are paying mortgages for the most of their lives. It's like
get that,
if you can
get that
stop
properly
that
locked
from
down.
happening, yeah, get that locked down.
You just
buy
need
a
to be
few.
smart with your money. Like we make enough money that if you by the end of this you could easily make enough money to not work like a normal job.
Yeah,
you just gotta be
If you
smart with
invest it right,
the way you go around things.
buy property, rent it out, that sort of shit is probably one of the big
100%.
routes. Yeah.
All right, well, we'll end it there. Rated, we will let you get back. I know you wanted to play a few more scrims tonight, so thank you for coming on. Any last thoughts from you?
No, not really. Just I don't know. There's not much to say really. The squad's just disgusting. That's all. Me and Joe got 3 new hard carries, so we're still relevant because we really need our hard carries because we're really bad at COD. And I'm using a Maddox now, so I'm absolutely loving life.
Well, who's ICR? Is it Wee Man?
Yeah, Chilton.
Yeah.
Like when we picked him up, it was just like make them 3 comfortable, and I'll just do whatever the fuck I need to do. So I'm running full time with Maddox, which is a lot different.
Yeah.
But the gun's fucking absolutely obnoxious. So
Yeah, it's alright, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah, I'm probably the best player in the game. I'm joking. Don't all roast me to a chat, please.
Oh, it's already.
Jesus Christ. It's on Reddit now. Right, it's so cocky.
How did you know what Reddit thread I was making?
Yeah. They're all on my back when I say some dumb shit, bro.
The thing is, there will be some. I've always thought like it's. I like shows like this because it allows people to kind of talk it out in context and not just 140 characters everyone judges you on. All right, Tunn, anything from you?
No, nothing in particular. I said this will be on the YouTube. The links are being going through on the Twitch chat all night. I'll put them in there again. If any of you did miss any of it. Next week we're going to be live on Tuesday because me and Brice fly to Miami on the Wednesday. And
that's the show we always struggle to get guests on because everyone's busy.
Yeah, because everyone's
Well, I
busy.
can come on Tuesday if you want because I don't scrim the day before, so.
There it is. You're logged in.
There you go,
You're
back-to-back
logged in.
weeks. Show's absolutely popping.
All right. So Reese will be on next Tuesday as well, and then we'll be back for next Tuesday for a pre-Miami show, and after that, who knows?
All right. Well, thank you very much. That has been Spitfire. We will, of course, be back, as Tunn has just said. Of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to leave some comments. We always go through and read them all. Feel free to share, like, or start any discussions you want, or as good on Twitter as well. And so far, I'm enjoying Season 2. I think Season 2 is much smoother than Season 1 was.
Is that because of my production? Yeah.
I think it's just because you actually did something that I told you to do, but, we fixed it all now. I mean, apart from the audio thing, I think, actually, no, the first 2 episodes were bad. Anyway, we're not going into this now. We'll do this off camera. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.